So sometimes when we're having a breakthrough, it doesn't even matter who says it, but somebody says it in such a deep place that they inject it. And it's like our ego defenses aren't there. You know, that porcupine quills, defenses, the peels, the layers. And it's kind of amazing how um, it's like it's the idea that if God brought you kind of into this position, he's going to provide, or if you want to think of it mathematically, everything is aligned in such a way that there's a balance. So if it's that hard and you have to dig that deep, that means you're planting a seed there too. So somebody could be sent, and they may not even be somebody who's a great person in your life, but then they'll tell you something. And I had an experience where there was a person who I felt like I recognized that I was having like a breakthrough. How did I try to get control? Through lashing out, blocking, harassing, raging, cursing, threatening. Under anger that I had was a fear and a pain. So a person was causing me fear and pain. This is not somebody who maybe intentionally was trying to cause me fear and pain, but they were not stopping the actions that caused me fear and pain. So they could no longer be connected to me. However, during a moment where I was having this breakthrough, the person was able to, out of something that came out of them. So this is like the divine balance, was I'm happy to hear about your progress. May you only continue to progress and be truly happy. I want you to succeed, to feel amazing, and continue to bless the world. I want the best for you. You're a genuine person, and work on yourself. And that planted a seed so deeply. And that's the idea of like self-concept, sense of self. And like the idea of there's like balance in the gardening. You have to balance when you plant the seed, how you leave it. You can't keep pulling it out and checking if there's growth or roots. So I would call it like divine balancing for gardening, because it's not only about the planting, it's also like nurturing it now, that seed. So I went to a 12-step meeting to workshop this, and I learned about, so really thinking about relationships, right? So you know, and then I went to research like how to achieve and maintain a healthy relationship where people could be that way while we're gardening ourselves and each other. So divine balanced gardening, I mean, you'd also call it co-gardening. And in the co-gardening, it's like gardening for a relationship. So I was realizing that I was feeling really fragile and restricted and self-righteous and humbled and confident. Sorry, and two sides. I was feeling really like fragile. It's like a seed when it's breaking down. It feels fragile and restricted and humbled, and it's like trying to protect itself with self-righteousness, but also was confident because it's like there's something bigger happening. I felt supported and accepted because the earth starts to like receive you, but I also felt like distrusting in the new environment or like the new phase. I had a fear at that time that love would transform me into someone else that maybe I won't know. That's like when the seed is breaking down and it's becoming not a seed, but a plant. It's growing. So like, what if I become a stranger to myself? Like I knew how to survive as I was. What if I become someone new? What if the other person, the gardener, doesn't love me anymore? The one who planted me, right? And so like, in that way, it's like, okay, until now I was a seed. You didn't know who I was going to become. But now if I become who I'm going to become and you reject me, that felt like really threatening. It was like, it's love, the nurture, you know, with, so what is gardening really? It's nurture. So this idea that you're planting and then you're nurturing it, however, the whole process, and then what comes out, and then you're like, I don't like it. So that was my fear, right? And the real me, not like the potential me. The potential me, it's okay if I'm rejected, but the real me being rejected felt scary. And I also felt like I was taking this in from the other person. Like that, like it was like that person had, I feel, I'm saying this out loud, I felt that that person had the fear that who they would become. They were so afraid of who they were going to become that they would be rejected, and it would be past the point of, it would be the point of no return. So it's like not receiving love as nurture in order not to change, right? And so I felt that was like really used to urgency and intensity. I didn't even know how to be loved slowly or how to love slowly. But yeah, there was somebody that I couldn't make like the person change who they are either. No matter what I did, I couldn't make a certain person hate me, block me, hurt me. He did. I did get hurt by him, and I did feel fear, like, but I couldn't make him, hurt me in certain ways that didn't match who he was. I couldn't either make him be available in the ways I wanted him to be or communicate in the ways I wanted to be that would have felt like nurture to me. So, I felt like there was something special there. He always read and listened in ways which I felt like other people couldn't, the ones who nurtured me, like other gardeners. Like, it's like this idea that, my mother, my father, men, this leftover need for those parts to expand and to, blossom and bloom. So how do we keep a relationship where we're not causing fear and pain? Like, what are some preventative strategies? Because the truth is, maybe somebody's not trying to hurt me, but I'm being hurt. Maybe I desperately want nurture in a certain area and I'm not getting it. So there's an account on Instagram, which I've used before in some of the videos, the Secure Relationship. She says, I think it's a she, to achieve and maintain a healthy relationship, there are preventative strategies. So this would be like having good soil, good water. These are things in advance that you prepare. You take care of the seed and so on. And then it would be things like expressing appreciation, physical affection, which would include sex in a adult romantic relationship, partnership, lots of eye contact, emotional engagement, quality time together, being open to each other's perspectives. And these, I already would say some of the issues was that we wouldn't spend any time with each other because he didn't come here. And I guess I wasn't willing to go there. And I felt like if he, as the man, didn't want to come see me, that he didn't deserve to continue to have access to me. He should have spent time with me. And he wasn't including me in his life. He wasn't talking to me enough, like sending me clips of his day, sharing information. He wasn't sharing his feelings. He wasn't inviting me in and letting me know him. So it wasn't possible. Like, he wasn't having good strategies for a real relationship. And I would say also because of his fear, his pain, his porcupine sort of suit. So two people both have to want to make the garden work, right? Because they see that something good will come of it. Why would they want to invest, right? And things like being open to, verbalizing your concerns in a non-critical, non-judgmental way, being compassionate, setting healthy boundaries, hearing and responding to your partner's needs, taking breaks before conflicts escalate to destructive level, and asserting your own needs and showing empathy. And then what are some reparative strategies? So let's say there's something that happened. You ever see like somebody ties a string around like a stick to keep the plant in place, or they have to spray a special like sugar spray, or sometimes they add coffee beans to the soil. So there's things you have to do sometimes to counteract the damage that was done. It's not saying that things never happen. Like when you're gardening, sometimes you have to put a net on in advance. And then sometimes once they're bitten, then you have to like give them like a special fertilizer that could help them to grow while it's still very like good sun. And you start to strategize. So these are reparative strategies. It includes apologizing, owning your part in relationship conflict and distress, working to, and this is a problem also, I didn't find that he was accountable enough. He didn't want to see that he could do better. And he might have done things he'd never done for anybody else. He might have loved me in ways he never loved anyone else. But he wasn't able to understand me. And he wasn't able to maintain the gratitude and not taking me for granted once he had taken me for granted, he didn't change anything when I told him, because I felt he was so thirsty when he met me. He was so thirsty for me. And then when he met me, he was drinking and for the love and the nurture. But then he didn't appreciate it, and he didn't want to love and nurture me. So it's like somebody who, I heard a quote once, the blind person, the day they start to see, they throw away the stick that they had relied on their whole life. So it's like some people don't have yet the maturity to like appreciate the one who loves them in the way that they always needed. And then as they're feeling better, they discount you because they no longer need you in the way they did when they met you. And that's a big message. That is not somebody that you want to invest in, because you see when you invest, you didn't get good out of it. So sometimes there's something called pruning. So we see that it's growing like in a way that won't benefit us. And we are the gardener of our lives. We're not killing somebody. We're cutting off the circuitry, because it's not a place where the person is recognizing and working through childhood wounds, where someone's showing up in the relationship, or the person's not getting the professional help, or they're not agreeing to disagree, or they're not talking about what went wrong and how they could both do better, or they're not pushing conflict, or they keep pushing conflicts under the rug. This was a big issue, or they're not soothing each other with verbal, emotional, physical affection. Okay, I want to read some literature before I end from Growing Up in Coda. So this is there's like quotes here on the whole thing. So as we release control of the uncontrollable, decades of frozen tension, fear, and stress begin to thaw. And I found that, and I'm getting a lot of healing from just allowing somebody to be unable to appreciate me, unable to love me, and recognizing that is part of life. And I've been through it before. And the truth is that I want someone who could appreciate me and love me. So I don't want someone who can't appreciate me and love me. So as those neurons are looking to connect, there's a pause where I don't go to create that circuitry because I'm not getting the love and appreciation. So it's amazing that we could release control, and it could be very painful, and we faced our fears, but actually, like it says, decades of frozen tension, fear, and stress begin to thaw. Paradoxically, letting go empowers us to shift our focus away from others to ourselves, becoming open to new ideas, new behaviors, new ways to express ourselves. Our lives become more manageable, and we're strengthened on our recovery journey, grateful we're no longer alone. When we surrender to a power greater than ourselves, we're more available to self-care, and for many, this means listening to the promptings of our inner child who wants to explore, to play, above all, to be loved, safe at last. Codependents often want immediate results. This urgency may be our fearful inner child wanting to control the outcome. Working the steps helps us set our impatience aside, allowing recovery and life to unfold. Lasting change happens gradually, uniquely timed for each of us. Growth is cumulative, requiring sustained effort and patience, supported by new attitudes and behaviors We may feel bursts of insight and energy that encourage us. We accept that we're in this for the long haul. And I'm going to stop here and wish you all the best.